It's
Let's
now
ride.
time for the words that are recited before each and every game here at Dodger Stadium. Take it away, Finn.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
What's going on, Dodger fans? And thank you for listening to another episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast presented by FanSided. Hope you're having a nice evening as the Dodgers fall back to 500. A little seesaw. They're now 6-6 on the season as we're recording Tuesday evening as they dropped their last game to the San Francisco Giants 5-0. Putrid offensive performance that I'm sure everyone's just foaming at the mouth here to get into. Dustin May was good. He only gave up 2 runs over 5 1/3 innings, but the Dodgers offense was not good. Let's start with that 6th inning where they had the bases loaded, nobody out. Chris Taylor up to bat, strikes out. James Outman grounds out into a little weak comebacker to get the runner thrown out at home plate. And then Miguel Rojas in good old Dodgers fashion strikes out. So that's pretty much the game right there. But I don't think that's what most Dodger fans want to hear us dive into. So I'm going to set the table. Max Muncy the night before had a career high 7 RBIs. He had a grand slam. He had a 3-run home run off Logan Webb. He's not only that, but he's a Giants killer for his career. Over 73 games, he's hitting .272 with 1,000 OPS, 23 home runs, 51 RBIs. And what does Dave Roberts do Tuesday evening? Says it's a scheduled off day. So Max Muncy was not in the lineup. Instead, Chris Taylor started at third base, and the Dodgers got shut out. David Rosenthal, I'm going to pass it over to you to get in on what's got me riled up right now.
Yeah, I mean, you go 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. You strike out 11 times as a team. I don't think you expect to win a game. We've seen this time and time again with this Dodgers team and the team before it and the team before it and the team before that. So nothing new here. Typical Dodgers loss, frustrating loss. As for the Muncy thing, I would have obviously started him, but let's also take a breath here where you have half the fan base clamoring for him to be benched, to be moved down in the order. His defense sucks. They're saying everything. And now because he hits 2 home runs and 3 hits and 7 or 8 RBIs, now everybody's like, well, how do you bench this guy? So if you're one of the people who are clamoring for him to be benched, you need to sit this one out and shut up. Secondly, Chris Taylor is a tough watch right now. It's pretty bad. Going back to spring training, going back to last year, I don't know what's been going on. I don't know if he's just out of gas in general, but I don't see a way you can justify starting him right now consistently whatsoever.
I don't think anybody wants to see Chris Taylor start. So even if they were Max Muncy haters, no one's saying Chris Taylor should be playing over him. And you go back to last year's All-Star break to now, he's 32 for 181, which equates to a 176 batting average. And he's got like 76 strikeouts, something crazy. Yeah, 73 strikeouts. So
like
that's
even more than that.
It's like a near 45% K rate. So a 176 batting average carrying over from the All-Star break into this season, along with a putrid spring, which I didn't even factor in. He's not doing anything for the Dodgers right now. Jake Reiner, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, the reason they're putting him in the lineup is because there was a lefty on the mound and he's supposed to hit lefties. Well, right now he can't hit anybody. So I agree with David. That is a tough watch. But on the Max Muncy front, I'm so sick of this matchup game we play all season long, the platoon matchup. I'm so sick of it. It's like you see a guy who's doing well. He finally has a breakout game and you put him on the bench the next day. I don't care how bad he was leading up to that point or the fact that there's a lefty on the mound. It's Alex Wood. Come on. Like this is a no-brainer. You ride the hot hand. I don't understand why we've completely forgotten that in baseball these days. We don't play the momentum. We don't go with the gut decision. It makes absolutely no sense. And I know it's kind of early to get this upset about it, but it's it's stupid when you have a guy who literally owns the Giants. There should be no scenario. I don't care how bad Max Muncy is going. There should be zero scenario where he doesn't play at Oracle Park in San Francisco, or at least against the Giants. There should be no argument against him playing. And so that's one of the most frustrating things. And I'll say this before I pass it back over. The last two games are kind of a microcosm of this team this year, where game one, they score 9 runs. They are hitting with 2 outs. They're scoring runs and they're pitching well. And Julio Urias pitched an amazing game one for the Dodgers, and he was able to stop the bleeding on that losing streak that they developed in Arizona. And then Dustin May, once again, 2 out of his 3 starts, he's gotten 0 run support. And that's frustrating too, because he's going out there and dealing, and he was untouchable tonight. With the exception of that Jock Peterson double, he was untouchable. So it's a very, very frustrating loss.
Yeah, I mean, I already said it. Max Muncy has 23 career home runs against the Giants. You don't bench that no matter what version of Max Muncy you have in your lineup. And it's not like they're playing a bunch of games in a row anyways. They have an off day on Thursday.
Also, he has a home run against Alex Wood in his career, for the record.
So this is an early
and Dave Roberts making that dumb joke of, oh, he didn't
hit 3 home runs,
3 home run rule. Like, shut up. Like, just play it.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, April 11th, already an early candidate for most Dave moment with benching Max Muncy. And like I said a minute ago, you said they scored 9 runs. Well, Max Muncy drove in 7 of those runs. So
well, no,
that's
I don't
a big
think
difference
benching
right
him
there.
I think the worst Dave moment was not pinch hitting for Chris Taylor in that bases loaded situation with Muncy, as opposed to benching Muncy to begin with. I think that was worse.
They're not gonna do that.
Why? It was like the 6th or 7th inning. Alex Wood was out of the game. I believe there was a right-handed pitcher on the mound as well.
Because if you're gonna fully commit to Max Muncy being on an off day, you don't bring him in.
Pinch hit later in the game.
Yeah, but that was like the 8th or 9th inning.
So he can't play an extra 2 innings in the field? No, come on, dude.
If you're gonna sit him out this game, you can't have him play a third of the game. That just makes you look even more idiotic.
Well, it would only been
they're not benching him for rest. They're benching him for platoon.
No, they were benching him for rest. It was a scheduled off day.
Well, he pinch hit later.
Yeah, like I just said, because it was at the end of the game. But he should have. If they're gonna say it's a scheduled off day,
what is he getting paid to do?
They need to do
baseball.
They need to go all in. There's none of this half-ass.
Well, you know what? There should be no scheduled off day for Max Muncy in San Francisco. That it's just dumb.
Yeah, there's a scheduled off day on Thursday.
We all agree. We all agree there. It makes no sense why they benched him today with the off day coming Thursday for rest. Like, if it's one thing, okay, he has a nagging injury, I get it. But no, this was a scheduled off day, pre-planned. They probably had it 2 weeks out on their calendar to be like, okay, April 11th, that's Max Muncy's scheduled off day, because they're just dumbasses like that.
But that's my whole point. That's my whole point. All this planning bullshit is so infuriating. I understand using analytics to your advantage. The Dodgers do that really well, but this is just overkill. It's over managing, it's overkill, and it's ridiculous.
Yep. Other guys that are struggling, David Peralta, 154 batting average so far this season. That's kind of disappointing. And then Miguel Vargas, very early on, leads the MLB with 12 walks, but he's hitting 190. No power production from him either. So those are 2 batters that we need to see step up for the Dodgers soon, especially if we got Chris Taylor doing absolutely nothing. Those 3 guys right there who I think are at the bottom of the barrel right now for the Dodgers offensively.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't put Vargas in there just yet. He's getting on base.
Getting on base, but he's not driving anyone in.
He drove in a couple of runs the other day in that Arizona blowout. I mean, it's not like you can't compare him to the likes of Chris Taylor and David Peralta for that matter. I mean, Miguel Vargas has been competing every at bat. So yeah, I think it's a little early for him. But for Chris Taylor, like David was saying, this has been a pattern.
Okay. Let's answer some fan questions to change the tone here. Tio Albert 2145 on Twitter. How do we make sense of the team so far, given how do we make sense of this team given how they've looked so far?
I mean,
Very
this
up
is
and
kind of
down.
what I thought they would look like. I mean, you guys picked them to win the division. I picked them to get second place. I think this is around a 90 win team. I think this is kind of what you're going to see for a lot of the year. You're going to see some really good games, and you're going to see some poor stretches where they kind of lose 4 out of 5 or whatever it was, 3 in Arizona, and then now another one in San Francisco. Obviously, they're going to get some help when in the bullpen when Daniel Hudson returns, which hopefully is May. The bullpen's been shaky, the offense has been inconsistent, and the runners in scoring positions has been bad lately, at least. So this is kind of what I expected, honestly.
I picked them to go 500 the first 50 games, so I think that's what we're going to see, and then they're going to turn it on at some point. But this is a classic Dodgers April-May team where they start off very slow. What was it? 2018, they started off 16-26 and still made the World Series. So I'm not panicking just yet. But if they got to do Jake's 40-10 start, they got to win, what is it, 34 out of, or
yeah,
34 out of their
34
next,
and 4.
Yeah, 34-4.
I know the season's still young, but I'm gonna lock that one in as my worst host take probably of the year. I mean, it could get worse. I could have another stinker in there, but that was pretty bad. But even still, like, yeah, it is kind of that slow start that we've seen from them from the last few seasons. But the one thing that is really concerning early on, at least, is the bullpen has been absolutely atrocious. And I think that they're having to adjust to the pitch clock, and it's not going well for them. And I know everyone has to adjust to it, obviously. So it's, it's kind of even playing field in that regard. But it could be the fact that they're not able to control the game as well as they would normally when they come into games when they do. I mean, tonight, I know that, it was kind of, it's definitely an anomaly, I think, but I've never seen Evan Phillips get hit as hard as he's done in his entire time watching him as a Dodger. I mean, he got absolutely torched tonight. So that's the very most concerning / uncharacteristic part of all this.
Moves us to question number 2, coming from JLack23 on Twitter. Do you guys feel like Friedman and Gomes decided to punt the season because this team might have too many holes?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think they have decided to punt the season, but I will say alluding to what Jake just mentioned, I think they kind of punted the bullpen, signing guys like Alex Reyes and JP Fireisen, who aren't going to be back till the second half, best case scenario, and banking on guys that were kind of due for regression anyway, such as Almonte and Vesia, maybe Ferguson, Phillips. You go down the line, Gratterall. They got a little too complacent. They let too many guys walk. They let Canely walk. They let Chris Martin walk. They didn't really sign anybody to replace them. They got those guys that I just mentioned coming in later as reinforcements. But early on, it's not looking too good with this Dodgers bullpen.
Yeah, I don't mind what that they trusted these guys. I mean, who would have foreseen all of them being as shaky as they've been? I mean, that's kind of, out of the blue, it seems. I know you say things like due for regression, but like, given how they pitched last season, you wouldn't think that all of them would be in this position.
Yeah, and another point I want to make, I think a lot of this could possibly be due to these new rule changes. I would love for a nerd to find out and go back which of these pitchers took the longest in between pitches, which of these pitches benefited from the shift the most, and then kind of put that together and see where we're at now. I know a lot of these pitchers would take more than they're allotted last year. So I think there's going to be an adjustment period with these new pitch clock and shift rules. And I think that could be a factor of what's happening now. But again, it's still super early, so I'm not really ready to call any of these guys out for regression.
I am encouraged, though, by the starting pitching, to say the least. I mean, outside of Michael Grove and that one Noah Syndergaard start that was pretty bad against Arizona, the starting pitching has been pretty damn good. I mean, Dustin May has looked unhittable. Julio Urias has solidified himself again as the ace of the staff and sort of the stopper. Kershaw looks sharp. I mean, the starting pitching has been a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I just think the baseball got juiced up again. Last season, they tried to de-juice it offensive numbers were down. Then all of a sudden they started to tick back up. And then another thing that they're trying to do is reinforce the sticky stuff even harder. I think that guys were able to kind of time things, maybe not so much with the bullpen, but starters knew which innings they weren't going to get inspected. So they kind of were able to sneak things in. I think MLB's up the enforcements even harder this season. So I think just a combination of everything right now. The new rules. I don't know about the pitch clock part, but definitely the shift. It's not like guys are really getting destroyed though. They're giving up home runs instead of hard contact base hits.
Well, I mean, the pitch clock's definitely a factor. I mean, you got to call a pitch immediately. Whereas before you can really think about it and process it and shake it off and do all this other stuff, collect yourself. I mean, this is definitely a factor. I'm not saying it's as an excuse, but I mean, this is,
I don't know,
a completely new way of pitching than they ever have done in their entire lives.
It's not affecting May or Urias.
I mean, Dustin May and Julio Urias are also two of the best pitchers in baseball. So
also, it's different for a starter than a reliever. I mean, a starter, you have a few innings to kind of get into a rhythm, whereas like a reliever, you got to have that rhythm right away.
Less room for error.
I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't see a team like Tampa Bay struggling. They seem perfectly fine.
Well, they're also playing the worst teams in baseball right now. Like Luke Raley is hitting fifth for them. Let's see how long this lasts, okay?
Well, yeah, we've also been playing bad teams, so I mean,
I think Arizona is good. I think they are better. Good team.
They are very scrappy, and they definitely.
Sorry, go ahead.
It was just death by 1,000 cuts with them. I mean, it wasn't like they were. I mean, they did hit a few homers, but it was I mean, the Grove starts specifically. It was just single, stolen base. I mean, blooper here. I mean, it was just like the death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, I mean, we've played the Rockies, the Giants, and the Dbacks for 8 games. They should not be 6-6.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
All right,
the runners with scoring position is a real thorn in this team's side for a long time.
We got to look up the stat though. They're so weird because they'll do a game where they just go off and then they'll go another game where they're cold. I believe they're the best team right now with scoring runs with 2 outs. They're in like the 30 run range right now. So they have the grit.
It's kind of remarkable.
When they're on, they're on. That's been the thing. When it's either they scored 10 runs in a night or 0 runs in a night. No in between. There's been very few 5-run games. It's either 10 or 0, 10 or 1.
That's the Robert Van Scoyoc approach. It's been that way for years.
Well, it's really.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the approach?
It's how these hitters are taught to have an approach at the plate. It's pretty much boom or bust at the plate. That's the players they've developed and signed. Occasionally you get these guys like James Outman who will light the world on fire with power and contact, but generally it's been boom or bust offense for this Dodgers team for years. They're not manufacturing runs, I'm not saying they should, but this is not a 1980s baseball team where you're getting a single, you're bunting them over, you're stealing, move them over, sack fly. Well, this is not this.
I mean,
team.
this team has no speed.
James Outman has 2
Zero
stolen
speed.
bases, and that's it. Nobody else has a single stolen base.
Yeah, we're not running on anybody, and everybody is running on us. Like it's insane.
That's another issue. Is I don't know if the Dodgers pitchers are very slow to deliver to home plate, or Will Smith just can't seem to adjust with the bigger bases, or both. But it feels like we're not stealing bases and we're not throwing anybody out.
I mean, again, Mookie Betts, what the fuck happened to his speed? Did he just get old that fast?
I don't know. He was never a big stolen base guy. Like his ceiling was 30, and that was. I mean,
I would love for him to steal fucking 30 bases this year. I don't think he's going to get to 15.
Probably not. He's not that kind of player anymore. He's more of a power.
Yeah, what the fuck happened, man?
Also, are we a little concerned? Are we a little concerned about Freddie Freeman's power or no?
No,
it's too early.
He's hitting like 400.
Yeah.
This happened last season. He had like 1 or 2 home runs the first entire month, and then once the weather got warmer, he was on fire, and it carried over into the playoffs too.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
he's too established to be concerned right now. Next up on deck, coming from Anna_8008. What's the front office likely to do to improve this team? They need a fifth starter.
That would help.
When are we talking? Like at the deadline or now?
I mean, I think there's short-term solutions and there's deadline solutions.
I mean, the short-term solution is ride it out. Like we're 12 games in. You can't just change everything up right now. You gotta see what's happening. As for the Michael Grove spot in the rotation, that's something you can change. But besides that, you can't really do much right now.
There's no one really lighting it up in the minors either. I mean, Gavin Stone has struggled out the gate.
Yeah.
But honestly, we got to see what we have with Tony Gonsolin. I mean, is he gonna suit up? Like what's going on there? Like I feel like we got to allow a little bit of time for him to come back, but we got to figure out other ways to win games. And the bullpen is it just has to be better. I think that they will get better. I don't think that they'll continue to be this sort of volatile, but yeah, it is concerning that, we have to throw Michael Grove out there again, which by the way, Dave Roberts has said he's pitching against the Cubs.
Well, the Cubs are mid. He can pitch well against the Cubs.
Cubs are doing actually pretty well. We're going to talk about them in a little bit because they're next up on the Dodgers schedule. I'll go with the short-term solution in terms of hitting. If Chris Taylor is going to just continue to do what he's been doing, then they got to do the Max Muncy phantom injury that they did last season where he's recovering in AAA for like 2 weeks and find a stroke back, because this is absurd. Maybe you call up someone like Michael Busch, who's actually doing so far so good out there in Oklahoma City, or that other guy who's been tearing up. What is his name? Jeremiah Jackson? Am I making that up?
Jahmai Jones?
Maybe it's him.
Yeah.
The guy with like
close.
3 or 4
kind
home
of
runs,
close. Yeah.
3 or 4 home runs, like 1,000 OPS.
All right, but here's the problem with that though. If you send Chris Taylor to China for 2 weeks or a month, your only shortstop is Rojas. Nobody else can play shortstop on this roster. Not one. So that's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
That means Rojas is playing every single game. And if he gets hurt,
he gets hurt, then gotta call back up Taylor.
You can't have Taylor and Rojas in the same lineup.
No, it's one or the other right now. 100%.
It has to be now.
So I mean, that's why I think you're onto something with Jahmai Jones, but I don't see it. It's 12 games in. They're going to give him some runway.
We'll see where we're at in 2 weeks.
I think he's more of a second baseman. I don't know if he can play short.
Yeah, I think he's an infielder, second baseman, corner outfielder.
What are we going to call up Eddie's Leonard?
Well, no. He's in Double-A, I believe, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's the other shortstop.
Sure miss Gavin Lux.
The depth is very thin. Back to Michael Grove, though, because I know that they are going to give him that one more start, like you just mentioned, and you kind of have to do it. But man, this is the "are you kidding me" of the week, because that performance was the biggest slap in the face I've seen from a Dodgers starting pitcher since maybe Zach Lee or Carlos Frias. I mean, we're talking 12 hits, 9 earned runs, over 3 1/3 innings pitched against a solid, but not that great of an Arizona Diamondbacks team. And then just his post-game press conference afterwards had me dumbfounded, where first he was asked, what was off? He said, I don't know, maybe they were hot, or maybe my stuff wasn't just good, or a combination. But then he made a comment that just, where's the accountability here? Where he said, I felt like I didn't throw the ball that terribly. You threw the ball fucking terrible, Michael Grove. You gave up 9 runs and 12 hits. There's something wrong here. And you haven't been good your entire career. You've been Mid-City Grove. You have not had one legit start from what I can account. You were handed this job as like the 7th option because Gonsolin and Pepia were injured. You should be pitching for your life right now. And you give us that joke of a performance. I'm ready to go to Andre Jackson. I know he can at least give us 3 innings. I already saw it this season. I'm ready to flip that script right now. Give the ball to Jackson.
I wonder why they haven't worked Jackson out as a starter. I mean, I feel like
because he's good at being a reliever. I've talked about this before. I truly believe he can be a legitimate, good, high leverage reliever, and I think they see that too. I don't think they're going to panic with this Grove situation because they know Pepio eventually will get back. Gonsolin, I'm not holding my breath, but they say he's getting back at some point in May. So that's the solution. Stone is going to have to take some time to get right. I think putting Andre Jackson as a starter would be a massive mistake, personally.
Why? They're already using him.
Well, no, you can't do it. You can't do it now. I'm not saying do it now because they've made him a reliever, and they're not. And then
he already got a 3-out. He already got a 3-out save. We know he can, or 3-inning save. We know he could give us 3 innings. That's basically on par with what Michael Grove's already giving us. So time will tell. He could just get built up, and I'm comfortable with that.
Just make him an opener for now. I mean,
yeah,
I
hate that. I hate
3-4 inning opener.
Okay, well, all right.
Option.
So let's play this out. Grove gets shellacked again by the Cubs. What do? You keep rolling him out there? I think you got to go bullpen game at least.
No. There's somebody on this Oklahoma City Dodgers team that can be called up.
There's nobody.
Nick Nastrini. How about Nick Nastrini? Is he around?
I mean, I don't think he's
friend of the show.
He's not on the 40-man. Their starters right now are Stone, who, as Jake said, he's got like a 7.70 ERA in Oklahoma City. You don't want to throw him into the fire right now. They're using Matt Andriese as a starter. He's a true reliever. I'm not calling him up to start games.
He started before.
Dylan Covey, not much. He's a reliever by trade. Dylan Covey's been starting games for them. No, thank you. I think I'd rather just go with Michael Grove at that rate.
I mean, yeah, these guys are getting absolutely lit up in Oklahoma City. Stone, 7.71 ERA. Andriese, 6.23 ERA. Covey, 8.64 ERA. Robbie Erlin, 8.64 ERA.
Yeah. There you go. We need to. They could have signed Dylan Bundy to a minor league deal, and he's
don't get me started. I love Dylan Bundy.
I don't even know who's out there as a free agent.
They may need to do something and maybe just trade for somebody minor league wise that they can call up. But I mean, Jesus Christ, I didn't realize this Oklahoma City pitching staff was throwing batting practice. I'm going to have to look at these AA stats while you move on to the next topics. See what we got cooking. We have a lot of offensive options.
This is how I imagine Andrew Friedman is right now. Just like, what do we got? Let's go down the list.
Jones is on fire. Duggar is on fire. Bush is on fire.
They can't pitch, Kevin.
I'm just saying that offensive bench depth, we're good, minus shortstop, apparently.
Who's our AA team? Tulsa?
Yeah, Tulsa Drillers.
Yeah. All
right. So final game of the series will feature Clayton Kershaw against Alex Cobb. And I don't want to call this a must-win game, but God damn it, they really need to get this game because I don't want them to fall below 500 already, especially with Clayton Kershaw going against the Giants, who he historically owns, and Alex Cobb, who has a 2.53 ERA so far over 2 starts. From what I can recall, has never done anything great against the Dodgers.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, yeah, then you got to bring us a win. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd say must win. I mean, it would be nice. I mean, to get back over 500 to win the series after the atrocious output by the pitching staff in Arizona. By the way, the offense was pretty damn good in Arizona. I mean, you take that offense every single time. It's just the fact that every time the Dodgers either tied the game, took the lead, the pitching staff would give it right back to him, whether it was Syndergaard or Grove or any of the relievers. Vesia had a tough time out there.
Yeah.
So the offense looked actually pretty decent against Arizona.
After that, they do play the Cubs. They are going to host the Cubs for 3 games, Friday through Sunday. It looks like the pitching matchups are Justin Steele against Noah Syndergaard, Jamison Taillon against Michael Grove, and Drew Smyly against Julio Urias.
I wanted to face Stroman.
Stroman is scheduled to face Seattle tomorrow, actually, on Wednesday.
What a pussy. Avoiding the Dodgers.
Stroman has been decent so far.
I don't care. Give me him. I want to face him.
Didn't he do pretty well against us in his one start last season? which was kind of annoying.
It was like 5 innings or something. Okay, you ready for some AA stats?
I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so there's only been 4 games, okay? So Emmett Sheehan kind of balling out. He's pitched in 2 games, 9 innings, 2 runs. River Ryan, the guy, a.k.a. Matt Beatty, who we got from Matt Beatty, 4 innings, no runs. Landon Knack, 4 innings, no runs. And Nick Frasso, 4 innings, 1 run. Give me Landon Knack. He's old enough.
Oh, my
Just
God.
throw him in there, see what happens.
That is just another Michael Grove. We got to see glimpses of him this spring. He was trash.
Well, I don't think you're going to stunt Sheehan's development and throw that in there.
No,
but Knack is a guy I think they might be okay with just kind of throwing into the fire.
Then you got to add him to the 40-man roster, and now we got to DFA somebody. And then what are we going to do if Knack sucks? Now he's on the 40-man. Now you got to DFA him probably in a few months.
Yeah, I guess you're right on the 40-man. Yeah.
But I want to get back to
I think
this.
Michael Grove is here to stay, guys.
For now, until those guys return in May. But what's important about this Cubs series is a Dodgers legend will make his Dodgers Stadium return, I presume. Cody Bellinger, so far hitting 205 with a 279 on base, 587 OPS, 1 home run, 7 RBIs. I expect this to be kind of an emotional moment for Cody Bellinger. Hopefully, they don't call a pitch clock violation when he steps into the batter's box, and he probably gets a roaring ovation from the Dodger fandom, I would assume. But that should be quite something.
He will, and he should.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Is the first game Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there. So that'll be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of like this Cubs team. They've been pretty scrappy. They just dropped 14 runs on the Mariners Tuesday evening. They're 6-4. Dansby Swanson so far has been a great signing. Nico Horner's been awesome. Bellinger has not been so awesome. But even Hosmer, Mancini, they got a number of veterans that are just doing things for them right now. So I don't think we can sleep.
Ticking time bomb right there. They're all going to turn into pumpkins by June.
But we're playing them in April, and I don't think we can sleep on them right now. I think they're going to play us pretty tough.
I'm sound asleep.
All right.
In my sleep number bed with my pillow. Sound asleep.
I don't think the Dodgers can afford to underestimate anybody. I mean, anybody so far. I mean, they've shown that anybody can beat them at this point.
Well, I don't think they're underestimating them. I am personally underestimating the Cubs.
Edwin Rios could get a plate appearance as well, but he's hitting 125 with 1 home run. But I mean, Wisdom's got 3 home runs. Ian Happ's hitting 314. Tucker Barnhart's randomly hitting 364.
Ian Happ's is actually a good player. Like, he's a really good player. He's always consistently good.
Yeah, I talked about him a lot last trade deadline. Instead, we got Joey Gallo. Yeah, Nico Horner's hitting 356, Hosmer 310, Madrigal 333, Swanson 400. So they're off to a good start.
Okay. Can I do my idiot of the week?
Go ahead.
All right. So this was honestly a tough one. I have 2, but I'm going to go with the one I think is worse. So I don't know. You might have seen this on Twitter, but there was this Yankee fan who posted this tweet trying to get a picture with Aaron Judge's family. I'm going to read the tweet. It says, "The Judge family walked in my direction. I politely asked for a picture, and his rat wife said no." And then posted a picture of like the family walking away. So best case scenario here, absolute best case scenario, you have a picture with Aaron Judge's family, not Aaron Judge, his family. And worst case scenario is this. You get absolutely roasted, rightfully so, for being an insane person, taking a picture of their family and calling the wife a rat because she didn't want to take a photo with a clearly, visibly insane individual. So not only did Aaron Judge's wife make the right decision, this person, what do you possibly, who is going to say like, oh, that's really cool to you getting a picture with Aaron Judge's family? So idiot of the week, random account. I mean, people follow her, but like, whatever. I'm not even going to read the @ Honorable mention, Doug McCain, Dodgers Nation guy, What?
I
You
feel
think
like
this should have been higher?
I feel like we're snubbing someone, but I don't know if we should do it or not.
Is it me?
Go ahead.
No,
Go.
it's not
No,
you.
no,
Okay.
it's not.
All right. So Doug McCain, in an also deleted tweet after, I forget which game it was, but the Dodgers bullpen kind of shit their pants. He overreacted. He said, the Dodgers can leave no stone unturned when it comes to fixing their bullpen. They need to call up Gavin Stone sooner than later. But wait, it gets worse. He came up as a closer, and he told me that makes him better equipped to come out of the pen if that's what they need from him. So you want to stunt the development of our top pitching prospect to plug a random hole in the bullpen 8 games in because Alex Vestia had a bad game. Phil Bickford might have had a bad game. Insane take. Stop tweeting. Relax. Think about it. Don't tweet that. One of the worst ideas I've heard from a Dodgers fan all year. He's our top pitching prospect. You want to call him up to shore up the bullpen on April 8th? Calm the fuck down, Doug.
But then he deleted it. So
he deleted it. Yeah.
He does that makes it worse because now you're not even standing by it.
No, it's like Molly Knight the other week. If you take a shit by the side of the road, at least have the courage to stand by it.
I say this with all the love, but I think the true idiot of the week has to go to Blake Harris for the timing of his rant and the article that he
Muncy?
also wrote.
Yeah.
Proclaiming that Max Muncy has no business batting cleanup, even though we were like 8 games into the season. And on that day, then he deletes the tweet too from his podcast. Go check it out. Love Blake. But saying this with love, man. Max Muncy absolutely slaughtered you because he had that 7 RBI performance, batting cleanup, 3-run home run, the grand slam. Not a good look.
Yeah. Then he rides the pine.
He'll own that, though. Blake's at least a good sport.
Yeah.
All right, powering through these final 2 questions. Dodge 16_12. He's nervous about the starting rotation. Is it warranted or is it just a bad start? I mean, Julio Urias is 3-0 with an 0.83 whip, 150 ERA, 18 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts. He's looking good. May has a 147 ERA. Kershaw had 1 bad game in Arizona, but he does that every season. I'm not too worried about him. And Noah Syndergaard, time will tell with Thor, but at worst case scenario, he's our number 5 pitcher, in my opinion. We already talked about Grove enough. He won't be here long term.
Yeah.
And then finally from Castillo Jason, any changes you would like to make to the roster? I think we dove into that one as well. But man, would it have been nice if Brian Reynolds was on this team right now. He is arguably the National League MVP early on, hitting in the 412s, got 3 home runs. He's on fire. The Pirates are actually off to a good start. I don't know. Maybe the Dodgers should have been more aggressive in the market for him. Any final thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm good off Brian Reynolds. I mean, this James Outman is looking like the guy. Yeah, you could have put one of them in left field, but there was no guarantee with Reynolds, and there's no guarantee that he'll keep this up. He's asking for 100 million plus. I'm not losing any sleep over that.
I think he's worth 100 million plus easily, especially he has 5 home runs. So my bad, Brian. You got 2 stolen bases. You're hitting 356 for the Pirates. Would love that guy in left field right now. Switch hitter. No more Peralta. No more Taylor.
I'm not closing the book on Peralta yet.
I'm not closing on it either, but he's not going to hit better than 270.
I'll take 270.
I'll take 270.
He's not going to hit 270
any day.
He might hit. He's probably going to hit 250.
Well, if he hits 25 home runs, I'll take that too.
25 home runs. I hope he hits 15 home runs at this rate.
My final thought is the Dodgers have too much talent for what their record says it is. So I feel like it's too early to panic and pull the plug on all these things. I just think we have to have patience with them.
All right. Anything else, David?
No, it's going to be fine. Everybody just calm down. The Dodgers are going to be fine. They're going to be in the playoffs. Slow start. Have seen it before. Be patient.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. And thank you guys for all your questions. Love seeing all those questions from our listeners. And follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, all that good stuff. You'll hear from us next week. Dodgers playing the Mets. Maybe we're going to preview that series. So go Dodgers.